Monday, April 20th, deliver a whirlwind of heartbreaking events, shocking surprises, and gut-wrenching decisions for the beloved characters of Days of Our Lives. The episode begins with Kayla Johnson stepping forward with devastating news about Beau Brady. After a long journey to Estonia, Kayla receives a call from Hope Brady bringing shocking information. Beau's condition has deteriorated rapidly and severely. This devastating revelation strikes like a thunderbolt at the hearts of Beau's family and friends who had been clinging to a fragile hope for his recovery after his long coma. Kayla, her face heavy with sorrow, is the first to deliver the heartbreaking news to Marina Evans and Steve Johnson. Although all three are no strangers to pain and loss, nothing could prepare them for this blow. They sit together, holding hands, leaning on each other for comfort in a moment where even words seem meaningless. Meanwhile, Sean Brady, Beau's son, is left reeling after receiving the same call from his mother. The news that Beau is dying crushes Sean to the core. Guilt, helplessness, and overwhelming grief seize him, especially considering the unresolved conflicts he still harbors towards his father. Just when Sean seems on the verge of collapse, Jada Hunter appears beside him. She says nothing, simply offering her silent, steadfast support. Jada understands that sometimes the most powerful comfort lies not in words but in presence. She holds Sean's hand, allowing him to break down and weep openly, his tears soaking into her shoulder, tears full of regrets, love, and unbearable sorrow. Elsewhere in Salem, another emotionally charged situation is unfolding. Johnny DiMera finds himself tormented by doubts regarding his decision to adopt. Although he loves Chanel deeply and dreams of building a life with her, Johnny cannot ignore the rising fears within him. Torn between his heart and his anxieties, Johnny seeks guidance from Marina. In a deeply emotional conversation, Marina, who has witnessed Johnny's struggles over the years, advises him to face his true feelings. She reminds him that stepping into the role of a father requires not only love for a partner, but also an unshakable readiness to devote oneself to a child's lifetime needs. Ultimately, Johnny chooses to confront the painful truth. In a scene laden with raw emotion, he confesses to Chanel that he cannot go through with the adoption. His honesty cuts through Chanel like a blade, but Johnny knows that facing the truth now, however painful, will save them from even greater heartbreak later. Meanwhile, a lighter, more hopeful moment begins to bloom elsewhere in town. Tate Black, determined to brighten Sophia Choi's day, is planning a special surprise for her. Despite Sophia's pregnancy, Tate decides to invite her to the prom, hoping to create a joyful memory amidst all the challenges. With heartfelt sincerity, Tate prepares an adorable invitation. When Sophia receives it, her face lights up with pure happiness. She happily accepts, determined to enjoy herself at the dance as much as her condition allows. Yet behind these sweet moments, a heavy darkness still looms over Salem. As Sean drowns in grief, a faint glimmer of hope emerges. Kayla reveals that doctors in Estonia are testing an experimental drug that might be Beau's last chance at survival. However, bureaucratic hurdles and limited time threaten to snatch away even this slender opportunity. Unwilling to stand by and do nothing, Sean decides he must act. With a burning resolve fueled by love and desperation, Sean hatches a risky plan to steal the experimental drug. He knows full well the risks: prison, disgrace, even death, but to him, saving Beau is worth any cost. Realizing he cannot pull this off alone, Sean turns to Steve for help. Steve, once Beau's closest comrade in countless adventures, does not hesitate. Together, they begin crafting a daring and dangerous plan, fully aware that failure could cost them dearly. Kayla, Marina, and Steve gather once more, grappling with the weight of what is to come. Each of them knows deep in their hearts that if they do nothing, they will live forever haunted by regret. But if they act, if they take this desperate chance, perhaps, just perhaps, they can save the man they all love so deeply. Next, Friday's episode of Days of Our Lives on April 25th delivered a flood of raw emotions, surprising confessions, and devastating decisions that will undoubtedly ripple through Salem for weeks to come. The second day under the new head writer's leadership already proves they are wasting no time stirring up drama, and the way events unfolded left viewers with their hearts in their throats. As alliances shifted and hearts broke, some relationships blossomed while others crumbled. And in the midst of it all, dangerous secrets and unresolved guilt began to bubble ominously beneath the surface. Belle and EJ, a forbidden love comes into the light in a development that many had seen coming but few dared to believe. Belle finally dropped her emotional defenses and confessed her feelings to EJ. Sitting across from him, her voice trembling but clear, Belle admitted that she loved him. She confessed she had fought her emotions for as long as she could, desperately trying to remain loyal to her past and to her own sense of right and wrong. But the heart wants what it wants, and hers undeniably belonged to EJ. EJ, ever the charmer but unusually sincere, responded in kind. He told Belle that she had taken root in both his heart and mind, and he expressed a desire to become a better man because of her influence. He clung to the hope that, with Belle by his side, redemption was possible. But viewers couldn't shake the unease that crept in during this tender scene. EJ's transformation seemed suspiciously sudden. Was his remorse genuine, or was something far darker lurking beneath his surface? By the end of the episode, those fears gained ground. It was revealed that EJ had discovered the hidden surveillance camera that Rafe had secretly planted, and he had not only found it but also confiscated the memory card. This chilling revelation meant that the footage of EJ's shooting was no longer available. Whatever had been captured, whether it involved the shooter or some other damning evidence, was now in EJ's possession. Clearly, EJ was not sharing everything with Belle. His secrets, though momentarily buried, threatened to destroy the fragile happiness they had just begun to build. Jada and Rafe. A relationship in ruins while love seemed to bloom for Belle and EJ. Another romance met a heartbreaking end. Jada summoned Rafe to the police precinct, a neutral, professional setting where emotions could hopefully be kept in check. There, in the stark fluorescent lighting of the precinct walls, Jada made the painful but firm decision to end their relationship. She pointed out that trust had been shattered, and not just recently. Their foundation had already begun to crack before the Feniger scandal exploded. She reminded Rafe that trouble had been brewing ever since Polina had named her police chief, a promotion that had shifted the dynamics between them and created new tensions neither was equipped to handle. Rafe listened quietly, heartbreak etched across his features. Though it was clear he had not wanted this relationship to end, he couldn't deny the truth in Jada's words. Too much damage had been done. As difficult as it was, he agreed that perhaps a break was for the best, at least for now. Those two words, for now, lingered in the air like a bittersweet promise. Maybe somewhere down the road they could find their way back to each other. But for now, they needed distance and healing. In an additional twist, Rafe dropped another bombshell. He revealed he intended to resign from Black Patch and accept an out-of-town position with the FBI once Steve returned to Salem. Was this Rafe's way of running from the pain, or had he realized that starting fresh somewhere new was his only chance at finding peace? Either way, Salem may soon be losing one of its most familiar faces. Johnny and Chanel, adoption dreams shattered elsewhere in town. Another emotional storm was brewing, one that would leave two young lovers devastated. Johnny continued to wrestle with the emotional fallout of discovering the circumstances of his own conception. The knowledge weighed heavily on him, sowing seeds of doubt about his readiness to become a father himself. Though Chanel remained blissfully unaware, Johnny was barely holding it together. Every smile he forced, every attempt to project excitement, felt like a lie. Chanel, radiant with hope and joy about their future family, couldn't sense the turmoil brewing inside him, or perhaps she chose not to see it. When Belle arrived carrying the adoption paperwork ready for Johnny's signature, the weight of it all finally crushed him. Unable to hide his emotions any longer, Johnny opened up to Belle, confessing that he simply wasn't ready. Signing that document would have been a betrayal not just to Chanel but to himself and the child they intended to adopt. This revelation will no doubt devastate Chanel, who had already envisioned their life as a happy family. But Johnny's reluctance isn't simply fear of fatherhood. He also experienced a disturbing flashback. A memory of himself grabbing Roman's gun from the Brady pub. Was it just a moment of fleeting self-defense, or something darker? Was guilt gnawing at him, not just over disappointing Chanel, but over secrets he hasn't yet acknowledged even to himself? Gabby and Brady, old tensions resurface amid all the heartbreak and confessions. Gabby and Brady also crossed paths. Their respective companies, Gabby Chic and Basic Black, had been placed under the same corporate umbrella, forcing a reunion that neither had particularly looked forward to. Their exchange was tense, loaded with old grudges and veiled barbs. It had been a long time since these two had faced off, but it was clear that time had not dulled their animosity. Whether their professional entanglement will spark more battles or unexpected alliances remains to be seen. A cliffhanger that shakes Salem to its core. Just when it seemed the episode had delivered all the drama it could muster, the screen faded to a gut-wrenching cliffhanger. Sean received a call from Hope, a call that brought him to his knees. On the other end of the line, Hope struggled to deliver the shattering news. Beau's condition had taken a tragic turn. The shock and sorrow that washed over Sean marked the beginning of yet another heartbreaking chapter for Salem's most iconic families. What lies ahead? The events of April 25th have set the stage for major upheavals across Salem.